Georgia Department of Corrections confirmed today one of its employees has tested positive for COVID-19. Tonight, the ACLU of Georgia is urging state and local officials to reduce exposure and release people charged with low-level offenses who are in jail because they simply cannot afford bond. They're also asking for immigration detainees in Georgia to be released. Our Elwin Lopez talked to the ACLU's executive director today.
While there are no confirmed cases of COVID-19 in ICE facilities, federal immigration officials are already taking steps to fight the virus. ICE suspended social visits to all of its detention facilities and is screening new detainees to identify those who are at a higher risk of exposure. The agency says it is also isolating detainees with fever and respiratory symptoms for observation. Georgia's ACLU Executive Director Andrea Young says those most vulnerable to the virus shouldn't be in an ICE detention facility during this time and calls on local and federal officials to let them go.
To release the elderly that are being held in these immigrant detention centers, release people whose only offense is being in the country without documents.